probably 10-15 minutes of just me talking. I have a few things I just want to say. So if you join now, see you later. By all means, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it's something that you want me to keep doing because this is kind of fun. I'm new to this stuff, so it's work in progress. But anyway, the thing I want to talk about today is you just gotta keep studying. You just have to keep going. Like I don't think we utilize the actual tools at our benefit. Like think you have the access to absolutely every single piece of information that's ever been released to the entire world, and like the only thing that's separating you from whatever you're trying to learn is a Google search. But instead of searching on Google, you know, we'll go on TikTok, we'll go on Instagram, we'll go on YouTube and watch some random person talk. Like it's it's very frustrating that we don't take the time and the effort to put our energy into ourselves. But when you start putting the energy into yourself, you start realizing that like, wow, I can do way more than I thought I could. Like when I started reading books, like probably like a year ago, I didn't know where it was gonna take me. I didn't know it was gonna take me to the point where I basically read like either a book a day, a book every 2 days. You know what? It's fascinating, and it's like I never was the person that was interested in reading. I was never the person that was like, oh, let me pick up this book. Oh, I can't put this thing down. Like I really need to just throw it across the room because it's frustrating, and it's like I honestly wish I like started taking myself seriously sooner because if I had just started picking up books sooner, I can't tell you where I would be because it's not so much the fact that the information you get from the book is life changing, it's the way the author thinks. Like, I need you to understand that everything we put into our conscious mind, like what we read, what we observe, what we watch, what we listen to, it's being absorbed by your mind. And if you start absorbing better ideas, if you just simply through osmosis literally just have better thoughts around you, you're going to start thinking better. It doesn't even matter if you apply the information from what you're reading. Again, it always does help if you do apply the information, but it's more so about thinking better ideas, reprogramming your brain, making your brain think in a more efficient, in a more healthy, in a more disciplined way. And when you start doing that, it's just life changing. It's transformational. And honestly, I wish I could tell you like, oh, I have this, I have that. Oh, because I started reading, I have this because that's what most people need to see to actually make the transformation in their life. But I'm telling you, like, what I've already gotten is worth more than any dollar amount in the world. Like, I have a mastery over my mind. It is very difficult for me to get in a rut. It is very difficult for me to be unhappy or anxious or fearful or anything aside from absolutely happy because I have found a way to reprogram my brain so that I no longer have negative thoughts. And it's a crazy thing to say. Like, think of every person in the entire world. They basically live and die off the news. Like, oh, oh, they're eating cats and dogs in Ohio, and it's like, stuff like that. And it's just like I don't live based off of someone else's reality. I choose my own life. I choose to be happy. I choose to enjoy each and every moment. And it's like we all have a choice with what we do with our lives. Like you can sit there and be upset. You could sit there and be happy. You could sit there and go, woe is me. My life is so hard. I'm not lucky. I'm not this. I'm not that. And it's just like we gotta stop this. Instead of looking at our lives for what we don't have, we just have to appreciate what we do. And it's like it all comes from shifting your perspective, shifting your ideas. But how do we shift our ideas? Because everything we've ever been taught has been from the perspective of, oh, I need to compete. I need to get one over on this person. The school system teaches you that it's not about creativity. It's about, I need to memorize this way of thinking. I need to do things in this way and then I'll be successful. And because of that, we've never been more unhappy. And it's just, it's baffling to me that we can go through this world and think that education is, oh, I was told to think this way, so I'm going to think this way. Like, it really pisses me off because the entire point of Socrates' life was to teach people how to think for themselves. If you can think for yourself, that is the number one skill that you could ever gain in life. It doesn't matter what amount of money you make. If you can think for yourself, that is more valuable than any amount of gold the world can provide you. And it's just, it's frustrating that we don't take this perspective because we view the material as the only thing that matters. We view, oh, I have this fancy car, I have this, I have that. Like, yeah, those things might be nice, but if you don't have control over your own mind, you don't have control over your own reality. And like, I'd rather have control of my own mind than have billions of dollars. Like, what is money if I don't have myself? And the answer is it's nothing. It's it's very interesting and it's very perplexing. And like, I think we should start asking ourselves these questions more and more often, because most of us are living life for someone else. Most of us are living our lives for everyone but themselves. And it's so frustrating to me because like, up until like 2 years ago, I literally felt this way. It literally was just, oh, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna go to law school, I'm gonna do all of these things because everyone around me told me I should. Society told me I should. Society told me that if I get a fancy law degree, if I get a fancy engineering degree, if I get any of these things, I'll be deemed as successful. People will deem me valuable. And it's like, no, that's not the metric I'm gonna live my life by. That's not what I'm gonna choose to do with my life. And until you break out of this paradigm, until you start shifting your reality to another perspective of thinking, you will forever be unhappy, because it was only in the past year that I started to find my own path, find my own journey, find my own source of fulfillment. And it goes back to learning. It goes back to reading. It goes back to, you know, finding better ideas from better minds, finding the works of Epictetus, finding Robert Greene, finding, you know, The Alchemist or The Book of Your Dad or Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. Like, I'm literally just reading the books that are in front of me right now, but like, it goes so much deeper than that. It goes so much deeper than whatever book you could read, because when you read a book, it's reprogramming your brain. It's not about, oh, this person did this or this person did this, and I can apply the same thing into their life. Oh, someone just joined. What's up, bro? How's it going? Well, what are you doing today? Anything good aside from watching this live stream? I was just ranting, so I can keep going, but if you got any questions, let me know. So anyway, what I was talking about was, when you read a book, it's not about the knowledge you gain. It's not about what you can apply. It's not about, oh, I learned how to invest from this book. I learned this. I learned that. Like, I think we focus on the wrong things. I think we focus on like, what can I bring away from this book? And it's not that. It's how can this book reprogram my brain? How can thinking like this author change my life? How can I start taking what this successful person did with their own mind and apply it into my own life? And when you start doing that, the results are baffling. And you know, there's something to be said about like, we look at the state of the world and you have to think like, most people's realities are based off of what everyone else is saying, what everyone else is telling them to think. You know, we have certain ideas because everyone else has certain ideas, and we need to start changing this. We need to start saying like, oh, I can change my unconscious by simply reprogramming it. I can provide it with different stimulus. And this is why I don't listen to music, because if you look at music, it's just crazy. Like, think of the messaging. Think of like, each and every lyric is telling you to be violent, telling you to do drugs, telling you to go out and commit crimes. And it's just like, why do we choose to surround ourselves with this when we can surround ourselves with better ideas, with things that are going to bring us joy, with things that are going to bring us happiness? And it's just, it's very frustrating. And I really want to change this belief, and I really want to have people accept that like, what you put in your brain will go end up shaping you. Like, the thoughts you have, the things that you hold in your mind, the unconscious beliefs you hold are all shaped by your stimulus. They're all shaped by the things that you put into your brain. And we're putting negative beliefs. We're putting like, oh, I can't make this amount of money because nobody's ever done it before. Oh, I can't do this because society told me not to. Oh, I shouldn't, go live on YouTube because, who am I to start talking? Who am I to start giving advice? Who am I to start just speaking my mind? And it's like, these are all beliefs that can either make us or break us. And for the vast majority of people, myself included, like, I still have a lot of limiting beliefs. It's the exact reason why we're in the situation we want or we don't want. It's the exact reason we're in the situation we are in this current moment, because we have limiting beliefs, because our mind is telling us we can't do things. And it's telling us we can't do things because our entire lives we've told ourselves we can't through the media that we've consumed, through the books we've read, through our teachers, through our parents, through everyone that told us that we weren't good enough. And this is why we have to start changing this. This is why we have to start reading. This is why we have to start associating our beliefs with greater minds in history. Like, if you start just reading Think and Grow Rich, I'm telling you, reading that every single day will fundamentally transform your life. You know, pick up books like this. Pick up Change Your Paradigm by Bob Proctor. Like, books like this will have more effect on you than whatever school taught you. And it's so frustrating that we're not taught the power of the mind. We're not taught that we have the ability to change our circumstances simply by changing the lens we view the world with. And I don't know why. I don't know why this is not something we're taught. I don't know why this is something that we've never been instructed on, but maybe it's intentional. Maybe it's because if you knew the power of your mind, you would know that nothing can control you. Absolutely nothing in this world can control you unless you let it, unless you give in, unless you believe it. Once you form a belief, once you hold that in your mind, once it becomes concrete, then it will forever rule you. Then it will forever say, like, you know what? You're not good enough because people told you this 10 years ago. And you've had no other evidence because you just keep believing it. And until you change that paradigm, you can never make a change. And it's baffling, it's frustrating. And, you know, hopefully through me sharing this today, you'll have a little bit of a change in opinion. But I'm going to shift the subject now from, I guess I want to call it like mental science or alchemy or something like that. Shifting perspectives, reprogramming your brain to a little bit about health, because I feel like most people have health mixed up, and it's very frustrating because, like, the things we're told to live healthy is not really what's going to make us healthy. What's really going to make us healthy is not the protein shakes, the protein bars, the protein powder. Oh, as long as you hit your protein, it doesn't matter what you eat. That's just not true. Like, yeah, you could look great. Yeah, you could be in tremendous shape, but I don't care about being in tremendous shape if it means I'm going to have various illnesses when I grow up, like when I get older. And it's super frustrating that this is not the perspective, because if we don't take the perspective from long-term health, then how are we ever going to live a long time? Like, we can push off our health until it's a big problem and we have some degenerative disease and it's uncurable, and then we start looking for a solution. We could look for a solution right now. And that's the biggest issue I have with most nutritional advice, most health advice. It's always about finding a solution to a problem. It's never about finding the root issue and solving that root issue. And a few things I really want to get across is, like, we should start thinking of nutrition in terms of digestion. Like, if we think of, like, how can our body digest this, it instantly takes out 1,000,000 foods that are not good for us. Like, I need you to understand, like, if your body can't digest it, it's not utilizing. People think, like, oh, if I eat 400 grams of protein, that means my body's gonna be able to absorb all of it. No. Like, if you eat 400 grams of protein, do you think your body knows what to do with it? Do you think your body needs that all at once? It's just gonna store it as waste. And a lot of times that waste doesn't get removed from the body because we're eating more waste than our body can take out. So over time, you're gonna develop degenerative issues. Like, maybe you lose your hair when you're young. Maybe your teeth are yellow. Maybe you have gyno. Maybe you have an actual illness because of these things. And it's like, we don't consider these facts, and it's so frustrating. It's like, I'm so young that I shouldn't lose my hair. It's actually baffling. And it's like, I could blame it on genetics. I could say, oh, well, my grandpa he didn't have hair, oh this, oh that. Like, I could sit here and blame everything on genetics. I could do that. And that's the cop-out, because I could either blame it on genetics, or I could look at the real issue. Like, okay, maybe I'm predisposed to losing my hair. Maybe I'm predisposed to this, maybe I'm predisposed to that, but that doesn't mean I have to accept it. I could actually take the responsibility, and I could actually start making the changes for myself and understand, like, okay, you're losing hair. You have some buildup of mucus. You have some buildup of toxins. Why don't we remove the things that are toxic from your diet? And instead of doing that, I sat there and I got the pharmaceutical things. I got all of the, vitamins and this and that. And instead of fixing my diet, I was like no, I'm just gonna lose my hair because of genetics. And it's like, I literally cut out dairy like 2, 3 months ago, and my hairline's coming back. And it's like, had I done that so much sooner, it wouldn't have gotten to this problem. It wouldn't have gotten to this stage. And it's so frustrating because we all have the ability to make a change in our life, but it's just a matter of if we're doing it or not. If we're willing to put in the effort, if we're willing to sacrifice a little bit in the current state to live in a better future, to fix ourselves and fix that root issue, or continue to ignore it, continue to allow it to build up, build up, build up, and get it to the point where we can't fix it with a simple solution. And this is what health should be focused on. It pisses me off that people get knee surgeries, they get surgeries on their ankles, they get surgeries on their shoulders, and then they get injured again and they wonder why. Okay, do you want to know why? The issue isn't the surgery. The issue isn't, oh, I hurt my knee. You hurt your knee because your hips and your ankle are out of place. If you had great ankle mobility, if your hips were in alignment, if those two things were there, you wouldn't hurt your knees because it wouldn't be undergoing unnecessary stress. And instead of fixing that, the doctor will operate on your knee, charge you whatever amount of money, and then you'll go on your merry way and then hurt the other knee. And it's like, we need to fix the root issue. We need to get to the root issue and get to the root cause, because until we do that, we are not solving anything. We are putting a band-aid on something that cannot be cured by a band-aid. And it just pisses me off that we don't see the overall bigger picture when it comes to health. Like, your body is a system. If one part of the system breaks down, the rest of it breaks down. And usually the thing that becomes broken is not the real issue. I hurt my knee because my ankles were terrible. I could literally do the splits. I could put both legs behind my head, but I still hurt my knee because my ankles had zero mobility. I could barely put any weight on them. And because of that, my really mobile hips, my really mobile knees got too much stress, blew up my knee, and I couldn't train for the next year. And it's just, instead of focusing on what we really should be, we focus on a symptom. And the symptom is only an amalgamation of the root issue. And when we think about symptoms, we need to find the root cause. When we find the root cause, the symptom always disappears. It's that simple, but instead we will be like, oh, well, I saw this study that said this. Oh, I saw this study that said protein shakes are actually good for you. Oh, this, oh, like, it's baffling to me. And like, I always go back to this thing of like, think about Plato, think about Socrates, think about Pythagoras, think about Aristotle, think about any of the great minds throughout history. Like, did they have to point to a study to tell you what they believed? No, they could just tell you how they believed it. And that's really how I go about living my life. Like, if I can't explain my logic, if I need to cite some higher authority, if I need to use an appeal to authority, then my idea wasn't good enough. If I can just cite an idea and it makes so much sense that you don't have to Google it, then I did my job. And it's frustrating that we don't take health from this perspective, because health is the simplest thing ever. If there's an issue, then you need to fix it. But instead of fixing the issue, we fix the symptom. And that's the pharmaceutical industry, that's the medical industry, that's what we do in terms of diet, that's what we do in terms of most of our problems. Like, when it comes to our mental health, we'll be like, oh, why can't I stop, going on those illicit websites? Why can't I stop, skipping the gym? Why can't I stop cheating on my diet? Why can't I stop looking at other girls when I have a relationship? Like, it's because you're not addressing something. There's some childhood trauma. There's something deep down within yourself that you're ignoring. If all your relationships keep breaking down, if you keep getting extremely jealous, if you keep getting angry or emotional, like, that's coming from some childhood thing. That's coming from some experience that you had that you've never addressed, that you've never forgiven yourself for. And the more you push it down, the more it's going to be expressed. I can't remember who said it, but there's a saying: what you suppress will be expressed. And it's like, I want you to think of when you're in traffic, when you're when you're getting road rage, when you're upset, when you're angry, when someone cuts you off. Like, what's your response? Are you like, okay, whatever, this person cost me 10 seconds of my life, it's not that big of a deal? Or are you like, this asshole, who does he think he is? Like, why did he do this? Why did he do that? And it's like, we let our mask slip. We let our discontent slip when we're in moments of emotion. And when you have emotional outbursts, it means there's something unresolved in your life. It means there's something unfulfilled. There's a fundamental piece of your character that is going underused, undervalued. And this is the Carl Jung idea of unconscious conscious mind. And the conscious mind is easy to grasp. The conscious mind is, okay, I need to wake up at this time today. I need to do this today. My breath smells when we go brush my teeth. It's the simple task, but the unconscious is everything. The unconscious is how your parents treated you, the memories that you've suppressed, everything that goes into making who you are. And the unconscious can only come to the light when you accept it. But the more we try to fit into society, the more we try to cope, the more we try to be a valued member of society and sit behind a cubicle and drive to work and sit in traffic and do all the things that make us unfulfilled, the more this part of ourselves, it gets hungry and it wants to come out. And it only comes out in negative ways, because the only time we're not in control of our unconscious is when we are upset, when we're emotional, it's when we're angry, it's when we're depressed. And that's when we make the bad decisions in our life. That's when we, text that person that we're talking to, I never want to see you again. And then like you try to be like, oh, but can you forgive me? And then they're like, no, it's too late. Like that's when we make that thing we said that we shouldn't have said, thing you say to your boss in that moment of anger. Like that's your unconscious. That's your unconscious coming out. And the only way we can tame this is by saying like, okay, I have some things I have to address. There are some things that I have to, fix within myself, and I need to find a healthy outlet for it, because you need to understand your unconscious traits are not bad. Your shadow traits are not bad. The only time they're bad is when you don't address them, when you don't allow them to be free, when you don't allow them to say like, okay, I need to be emotional. I need to show myself stuff. I'm keeping my emotions down, and I'm keeping them at a point where they can never be expressed. And the only time they're expressed is when I'm angry. This is how it was for me for so long. But for the longest time, I would be so cold. I would be so emotionless. I would be so just not angry, but indifferent to everything. And it's like it was only when I started accepting my emotions, started utilizing them, started understanding them, and started applying them into my own life, when everything started to make sense. Like every relationship I'd been in to that point was like, oh, wow, yeah, fuck, I just blanked. Every emotion. Damn, I gotta get my thought back. See, this is what happens when you just rant for like 25 minutes straight. You kind of lose your train of thought. But so what was I talking about? The unconscious. I was talking about my emotions, and I was talking about how to apply them. Okay, so I've been on a spiel for the last 5 minutes about the unconscious, but my unconscious traits for the longest time, you can never become completely conscious with your unconscious either. It's like it's a paradox. The more you bring to the light, the more other things are starting to build, it's starting to fester. But it's only through actively facing your unconscious each and every day that we can make growth, that we can start to become an individual. What Jung called the individuation process. But anyway, in my life, I had everything figured out for the most part. Like I got my physique good, I had my mind good, I know a lot of things, but I never addressed my emotions. I never addressed the things that deep down hurt me. And because I never addressed them, they would always come back to bite me. It would always come back to hurt me. They would always, in some way, come out when I least expected it, when I couldn't control it, and it would always be the breakdown of all my relationships. It would always be that pettiness that would come out when I'm not getting a text back, or somebody mildly just makes me angry, but the rest of my day was horrible, so I take it out on them. And it's like these things can only become negative if you choose to not address them. So instead of letting my emotions sit deep down within inside me, I made a conscious choice of like, if my girl looks nice, I'll compliment her. If she does something that I really appreciate, I'll tell her. If people around me, like if they're there for me in a hard time, I'll be like, thank you so much for just like letting me talk to you. If I'm upset, if I'm angry, like I'll just take some time, I'll think it through, I'll take a few deep breaths. I'll exercise some perspective, and I'll be like, okay, like you're upset right now, but just know like this emotion can be used for good. This emotion can be used for love. This emotion could be used for not necessarily anger, but it can be used for energy, because that's all emotions are. Emotions are just energy within inside of us, and we can choose to harness it for good or harness it for bad. And it's finding healthy outlets. It's finding ways to address ourselves, and it's very frustrating that we choose to just allow ourselves to be unconscious, to allow ourselves to be comfortable and not address the things that are really bothering us in life. And I'm starting to lose my voice. My nose is a little stuffy, so I might do a longer one at some point. But this was a good trial run. If you joined this and you're listening to it, thank you so much for making it this far. Most of my videos are pretty similar to this. They usually have a topic. They don't really just flow like this, but this was pretty fun, just getting my thoughts out there. And you know, if you joined while you're watching this, or if you're watching this later, thank you for your attention. It's cool to see people want to listen to me. It's cool to see that people like to listen to me talk. But if you didn't like it, I'm sorry. I'll be better next time. But yeah, this is fun, and I'm gonna start doing this more often. So yeah, stay tuned. And if you want more from me, stick around the channel, like the video, subscribe. If you want to get any of my courses, they will be linked. I'll either leave a link to my website or some that like apply directly to this video. I haven't thought about it right now. And if you want to join my Discord, go ahead, join my Discord. Thank you so much for making this far. I'll catch you next one. Peace out, guys.